All right, all right. Let's wait for some people to get in here and we'll start this live stream up. Oops, did not mean to do that. All right, the great mistake, Bozos. What's going on? Kyrie, no Irving, says Duval. Brenneman says, what's up, UCF? What's going on, bro? Isaiah says, our wide receiver and running back depth is insane. That's a fact. Jermaine says, Duval, Devontae in the building, quarters all the way up, and I think in Minnesota. What's going on, quarters? Hope you guys are all doing well. Real quick midday stream. The Jaguars just finalized their 53-man roster. So here's my plan. I'm going to do a live stream real quick about it because I am pretty busy later today. So I do want to get this up and out here, kind of share my thoughts about everything for you guys. Not do too long of a live stream. I'm just mainly just trying to get some of the info out there and, share with you guys maybe some of my thoughts and a little bit about what happened so people can kind of review this later on and really see what's up. So glad you guys are all here. We have Brandon, Robert up in here, Sledge Sports. We have Jack, Devin. So yeah, the position that we'll start with, guys, is the quarterback position. Now, you can be either one of two people. You can either be one of those people that's very, very stressed that Nathan Rourke didn't make the roster. You can be very, very stressed about who the Jaguars QB2 is. But I'm in a situation where, look, my starting quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. I understand if Trevor Lawrence somehow gets hurt, especially for a long period of time, we're done. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is the franchise. He's our franchise quarterback. If anything, I'm going to Pat Mahomes. Their quarterback, too, is Blaine Gabbert. Their quarterback, too, isn't doing anything. If anything happens to Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, anything around the NFL, the team's screwed. So with that said, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's stressed out, like, how do we cut Nathan Rourke? What are we doing? Why do we have CJ Beathard as our quarterback, too? Look, people out there, there's... Apparently, CJ Beathard is pretty important to have on the team as a quarterback, too. He's important for Trevor. He's, Doug Peterson was a former backup quarterback. That's how he made his, career. That's just what it is. And look, Nathan Rourke will probably clear waivers and he'll probably back on a practice squad. So that is what it is. You keep, and there's a big misconception out there that you're allowed to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster without accounting. That's untrue. If you have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, you can keep one of them as active on game day without accounting. But there's strict rules behind that. In order for that third quarterback to play, the first string and second string quarterback they would both have to be out with injury. They would both have to be out with injury and not able to come back in and officially declared out. Then the third quarterback comes in. So Nathan Rourke will probably be back on a practice squad. He had a fun and good training camp, but I am kind of in preseason, but I'm kind of ready to move on toward week 1. And in week 1, quite frankly, Nathan Rourke is not, he's not relevant. So that is what it is when it comes to that. Shout out to Chachi for joining back in the Cub level. Appreciate you, my man. So with that said, we'll move on to the next position, running back. Running back, no real surprise there. There is a big separation on the Jaguars roster between the top 4 running backs and the next few guys. You're going to have Etienne as your starter, Tank Bigsby as your running back 2. Then you have JaMycal Hasty and D'Ernest Johnson, both on the roster as backups in that sense. And look, I like this roster, man. I mean, this running back group is promising. It's a really, really good group, man. I mean, we saw a little bit of Tank Bigsby, what he can do this preseason. Of course, he had the fumble, but when you take out that fumble, man, the guy is a thumper. We saw him come back very well from that fumble and just truck somebody over. He's going to be a really fun running back, and One thing that the offense was missing last year in Doug Peterson's eyes was, a true bruiser when it comes to being able to, get that short yardage carries and gain it in that way. And that's why the Jaguars, bring him back. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. And yeah, outside of that, Dearness Johnson is also a guy that looks really good. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, I've got actually someone coming in town tonight that is staying at my place, so kind of coordinating with that. Shout out to Sports Critic. What's going on, man? He says stay safe during a hurricane. Yes, sir. Yeah, and everybody out there, stay safe for sure. So yeah, that's the running back spot. Next, we'll move on to the next couple things, which was probably the most surprising. Look, the biggest. I wasn't super intrigued about who made the roster and who didn't, but I was very, very, wondering who's going to get that 6 wide receiver spot. However, not only did they keep a 6 wide receiver, they kept a 7th wide receiver. So you have your roster locks with Jamal Agnew, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. And then you had Parker Washington, who everybody felt was going to be the 5th wide receiver to make the team. And then that 6th spot, it was going to be like Elijah Cooks, Tim Jones, or Jacob Harris. But they kept 2 out of those 3 guys. Tim Jones will return on the team. And then I guess Elijah Cooks was just too intriguing and just too different to be able to get rid of him. So congrats to him. Undrafted rookie free agent makes the team over several, actual drafted players. And that's very exciting. So we'll see. I don't know if they bring back Seth Williams on a practice squad, or Jacob Harris is another guy that could come back. Kevin Austin Jr. is a guy that the Jaguars really like, although we haven't seen much from him. He is a guy that the Jaguars do like. So that one, we'll definitely monitor that one. But that's exciting. Look, I'm excited to see Elijah Cook backs on a team. And you look at the Jaguars' current wide receiver room, like all your big top guys. I mean, we're not going to be able to keep all these guys forever because they're all making a lot of money. Between you have Zay Jones, you have Calvin Ridley, who's going to need a new contract soon, Christian Kirk, Jamal Agnew may or may not be on the roster next year. So, you have to find ways to, make sure you're keeping guys that you can afford. And maybe Elijah Cooks is going to be a guy that maybe going forward kind of takes over that Z wide receiver role, kind of where Zay Jones is. We'll see, but it's a very, very exciting guy that the Jaguars can definitely develop. So, and the big thing now, where does this 7th wide receiver spot come from? The big surprise to me was the Jaguars only keep 3 tight ends. They keep Evan Ingram, Luke Farrell, and Brenton Strange. And Garrett Prince is a guy that in training camp did a lot of good stuff. I mean, he really, really looked the part. But the Jaguars were in a position where the first time in a long time we're pretty good at tight end. I mean, the Jaguars definitely finally invested. I mean, Evan Ingram earned a multi-year contract, and then Brenton Strange is a guy that the Jaguars drafted in the 2nd round. And then tight end Luke Farrell, a 6th-round pick out of Ohio State back in 2021. He's really developed. I mean, he's looking like a real good, polished tight end who can really help out in the run game and do a lot of stuff in that sense. So the Jaguars right now, look, they like to run a lot of 13 personnel now. So there's going to be a lot of situations where all of our tight ends on the roster will be on the field at the same time. That's what's surprising. Since the Jaguars run a lot of 3 tight end personnel, you would have thought that maybe they would keep a 4th guy, but no. Garrett Prince is a guy that the Jaguars will most certainly want back on their practice squad. However, is he going to make it? He seemed to be a pretty good tight end. There's going to be a team out there that probably wants to really give him a look and bring him on their roster. But we hope to bring him back. But if he doesn't make it back, then best of luck to him for sure. Now to finish it out, the offensive line, the Jaguars keep Ben Barch, Luke Fortner, Anton Harrison, Cooper Hodges, Walker Little, Brandon Sheriff, Tyler Shadley, and Cole Van Lanen. So some guys that the Jaguars did cut at the offensive line position. They get rid of Coy Cronk, Samuel Jackson from UCF. Also got rid of Darrell Williams, and of course Cam Robinson will be on the suspended list. I didn't know what to call it, the suspended list, and also Blake Hance is also a guy that got cut. So yeah, I don't know if there's any real surprises there. I wasn't paying too close attention to offensive line stuff, but that kind of rounds out the offense. We hope that Tyler Shalley can come back healthy week 1, but we'll see on that. So real quick, I do want to interrupt this stream with this stream's sponsor, and that will be BetUS. Guys, BetUS has a little over 1 week left to be able to place in, your week-long or your season-long bets. There's all kinds of stuff out there, guys. Take a look at the website, man. You can bet the Jaguars over under 9.5 wins. I know a lot of us are really, really confident that the Jaguars will do great things, and it seems like BetUS has given that one to us. So 9.5 wins for the Jaguars. You can even place certain things like, will the Jaguars win a division? Will the Jaguars appear in the playoffs? Will the Jaguars win the Super Bowl? You can even go in the future and bet on all kinds of future games. You can even, put money on the exact win total. There's a lot of opportunities out there when it comes to really fun wagers to kind of make the season a little more fun. I know for me, I'm not a guy that wants to, bet on sports to become rich. I'm more of a guy that wants to put $20 here, $20 there, and if I lose, then hey, I lose. But if I win, then I can multiply that, by a good amount. So there are a lot of different things out there for you guys if you're interested. Go check out the link in my description. BetUS will match your deposit by 125%. So if you put down $100, they're going to deposit $225 into your account. So kind of some last calls on that before we get into week to week type of stuff. So thank you, BetUS, for sponsoring not only this video, but my channel in general. Now, let's get on back to discuss some of these roster moves. And thank you guys all for being here. If you guys are enjoying this stream, we have 117 people in here, man. Drop your likes for me. That would be great. Yeah, Colts did put Jonathan Taylor on the PUP list. So we're going to get into the defense now after speaking about the Jaguars offense. Now, defensively, let's see what we got here. We have... Okay, we'll start off with cornerbacks. The Jaguars keep Christian Braswell, Monteric Brown, Tyson Campbell, Chris Claybrooks will be placed on the commissioner suspension list. Trey Herndon is also on the roster, Gregory Jr., and Darius Williams. So some guys that got cut at the spot is Eric Hallett Jr. We really hope that he can come back on the practice squad, but he did good enough to probably be able to come back or to probably earn a spot on another team. Quick shout out, Big Jackson with a $2 super chat. Does BetUS work in Florida? Yes, it does. Sports gambling in Florida is 100% legal, so there will be no area restriction on there. I know there are restrictions in certain states, but BetUS is legal in Florida. And if you guys have any questions, definitely, let me know on that. So he's a guy, Caleb Hayes got cut, and it looks like Devad Wilson from UCF also got cut. 3 UCF guys get cut. Unfortunate. So we have no UCF guys on the roster, but I will live. So, these are some guys. Devad Wilson will be a guy that we hope to bring back on a practice squad. Look, the Jaguars are a good team. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good players that we had to cut, but that's just kind of the name of the business, unfortunately. So those are some different cornerback spots. Now for safety, we have Andre Cisco, Rayshawn Jenkins, Antonio Johnson, who kind of plays the safety cornerback role, so he can kind of play both spots. There's Daniel Thomas, and then there's Andrew Wingard. Some safeties that the Jaguars cut is Latavius Brini, also Ayo Oyelule. I don't know how to say that word. I'm not going to say that name, I'll be honest with you. So those are a couple guys that they cut. Now look, a big thing to earn your spot as the last cornerback safety spot is to be good at special teams. So, they kind of earn their way, through there. Now, linebackers, the Jaguars merged outside linebacker and inside linebacker on this list, so it's a little bit convoluted. They're completely different positions, but they merge them here for some reason. So I'm seeing Yasir Abdullah, rookie from Louisville, Josh Allen, Caleb Chason makes the team, Caleb Johnson, Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma, Foye Oluokun, Shaq Quarterman, and Trayvon Walker. Now, Shaq Quarterman might have made the roster because Ventrell Miller got put on the IR. And, there's a lot of, controversy about Kayvon Chason making a team over a guy like Jordan Smith. The main reason, look, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not somebody that watches special teams. I just don't. I don't watch special teams, but apparently Kayvon Chason is this big super special team superstar, all pro, Hall of Fame special teamer where he's a core 4 guy and the Jaguars need him. I know it is important to have your core 4 guys because if not, then you're going to have guys like Devin Lloyd playing special teams or, Tyson Campbell out there playing special teams. You want your high-end starters to not be playing special teams, and that's why you have a guy like Kayvon Chason. But I'm going to be in a position where if Kayvon Chason is on the field, I am just not going to expect anything from him because he's just not a very good edge rusher. So that is what it is. The Jaguars aren't very deep at the edge position. I'm really hoping Yasir Abdullah can surprise some of us, and I'm really hoping that what's his face can come back from injury pretty soon. DeJuan Smoot. So those are some of the guys that made the roster there. Now next up we have. And to round it out, we have defensive linemen. Devon Hamilton makes the roster. Foyi Fatukasi, Adam Gotsis, Tyler Lacey, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Roy Robinson Harris. Some guys that got cut on the defensive line include we've got defensive lineman Raymond Vohasek. And it looks like that's all they have on this list that I have here. I'm sure more people got cut. Maybe they left some of them off. Deshaun Dixon is a guy that got waived. So, yeah, like with this one, look, a huge shout out to Jeremiah Ledbetter. He had a really, really good offseason and training camp and preseason, so he really deserved to make this roster. He isn't any rookie. He's been in the league since 2017, so maybe he just really, really leveled up his play and he's become quite the player. That would be exciting if he does. Adam Gotsis is Mr. Reliable. It seems like he's like in a Tyler Shatley group where he'll just be signing 1-year deals until the end of time. Tyler Lacey, a rookie, makes it on. And, Roy Robertson Harris, we're just hoping for a big, big year out of him. And to round it out, special teams, Logan Cook's your punter, Ross Matsisik is your long snapper, and Brandon McManus is our kicker. So, boom. That is what the Jaguars 53-man roster looks like at the moment. Of course, I don't really expect too many changes on here. Last year it was different. The Jaguars had number 1 waiver priority, so they had their choice at anybody. This year maybe they pick up a guy or two. I don't really see too much action, but yeah, that's what the roster looks like, man. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Really, really excited for this. I'll be reading comments. Unfortunately, I do got to head out of here. If you guys can, though, please drop a like for me on your way out. Definitely helps me, helps out the channel. And guys, we're so close to the NFL season, man. We're like, 12 days away from Jaguars Colts. I am literally counting down the days, and pretty soon I'll be counting down the hours. So thank you guys all.